Arsenal have made a transfer decision that has shocked so many people. And I've got to be honest with you, I love to see it. Arsenal are definitely being brave going into this transfer window, which is definitely something they haven't been accused of in the past. You know, Arsenal have been weak, letting players go for too cheap. So we're going to speak on that. Also, we've got some stuff to talk about on Declan Rice, amongst other things. Before we get into it though, if you could just very quickly do me the favour and just hit thumbs up on this video. Just give me a like. It helps the channel. So the first place I want to start is, of course, this Arsenal transfer decision. You know, they've decided to slap a £50 million price tag on Eddie Nketiah. Boom! You know, most of us were hoping, you know, £30 million for Eddie Nketiah would be an absolutely unbelievable deal. This is a guy who scored 6 goals last season. Look, Eddie Nketiah does have talent. We've seen it throughout his career, certainly in his younger years. You know, England under-21 all-time top scorer. So there's definitely a goal threat in there. But if we're being honest, a lot of us are saying he's not good enough for Arsenal, like even as a third choice, which is understandable. That doesn't mean he's not a good player though, and it still doesn't mean he can't be a good Premier League player. It's just now Arsenal are operating at such a level that these strikers need to be scoring goals consistently. They need to be offering goals at a high level because of what kind of honours Arsenal are going for. We want the Champions League. We want the Premier League. And Eddie Nketiah doesn't cut it, and that's okay. But the discussion was before this transfer window, if Arsenal can nick £30 million, then that would be brilliant because we can invest that in different areas of the squad. We can go in and bring a different striker in, and that £30 million would make a massive dent, you know, in the transfer fee of bringing the other guy in. But Arsenal are coming out and saying, no, not 30 million, not 40, 50 million pound. I want to hear your opinion on it. Do you think Arsenal are actually expecting to receive this amount of money for this player? Or do you think, like I think, Arsenal are putting a £50 million budget on him and saying, look, if we can get 40 million back for Eddie Nketiah, that is absolutely brilliant. You know, that would be great business to get 40 million. And that's what I think they're doing. I don't think they're actually hoping to achieve 50 million. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, there are still clubs interested, apparently, even after this price tag has been slapped on him. Clubs like Brentford, Fulham, West Ham and Wolves. So we could have the perfect scenario here. We could have clubs in a transfer battle for Eddie Nketiah with such a massive price tag on him. So maybe Arsenal can achieve somewhere close to that 50 million. You know, that is a massive fee for Eddie. A lot of us, like I said, wasn't expecting that much. So many people were saying 15, 20 million for Eddie Nketiah. Arsenal are not seeing it that way. Edu are not seeing it that way. And I think this just goes to show that the PSR rules are coming into effect. Arsenal have to be clever in how they operate in this transfer market. We know we've got players that we need to sell, and Arsenal are not letting these players go on the cheap. They know the amount of money they sell these players for, that is what they will then be able to go and spend on other players. So if we only get 15, 10, 20 million for Eddie Nketiah, the transfer budget to go and spend on other players is not going to be that big. So if you get 50 for Eddie, we know there's rumours of us selling ML Smith-Rowe as well. I'm guessing that the fee would be similar for ML Smith-Rowe. Reece Nelson, you're probably going to have to take a bit of a hit on him. But if we're putting 50 for Eddie Nketiah, what will they be asking for ML Smith-Rowe? Let me know. If we're getting 50 for Eddie, what should we get for Smith-Rowe? What should we get for Reece Nelson? Fabio Vieira, do you think we're going to be selling him? And if so, again, what price do you put on Fabio Vieira? I was hoping, to be honest, if we could get 30 for Nketiah, 30 for Smith-Rowe, 20 for Nelson, and Vieira, I'm not sure we're going to sell him anyway. So 80 million for them three. But it's looking like Arsenal might want in excess of £100 million for those three players. Teams like Crystal Palace are also being interested in Reece Nelson, Eddie Nketiah. So there might be a decision to be made, or clubs might make the decision and spend over £100 million on these players, and then Arsenal can reinvest that. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. What do you think of these price tags that Arsenal are putting on? Do you think they're actually hoping to achieve that amount? Do you think they're having to do that because of the PSR rules? If we don't get big money, we're not going to be able to spend on players ourselves? I don't know what's happening there. Let me know your thoughts on it. Also, I wanted to speak about Declan Rice because, look, England have been, let's be honest, rubbish so far in the Euros. I think there is scope for improvement, but I don't think the performances that we've seen from England as a whole have been brilliant. You know, we saw in the Iceland game, England didn't play well, and Bukayo Saka was the face of that poor performance. You know, he was spread over all the media outlets, and to be fair, there was so much backlash from people in the media who were coming out and saying, why are we always using Bukayo Saka's face as the face of defeat? Like, what is the movement here? Like, what are we trying to portray? Why are you putting Saka's face? You know, because it wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't one or two media outlets that were doing it. You know, the majority of them had Saka's face as being the main man for the reason for the defeat when he only played 20 minutes. So a lot of us couldn't really understand that. And even since then, we've had people hating on Declan Rice. You know, people coming out, an ex-Premier League player coming out and saying Declan Rice is overrated. I don't really get why we're having these kind of discussions. Why do we always seem to put the players down? Now, we can criticise players for performances and say, listen, the performances need to be better, which is exactly what we're seeing with England. I don't think there's many people, not even the most avid of England fan, can sit out there and say, oh, England are doing what they need to do. England are playing absolutely brilliant. England are going to be fine going into the latter stages of this tournament. There obviously needs to be improvement. There obviously needs to be discussion, but I don't get why people are trying to single out Declan Rice as being the main problem in that midfield. We know that midfield isn't as strong as it can be because of the players that Gareth Southgate has been experimenting with. Just look at the partners Declan Rice has had to have during this tournament. You know, he's had Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's had Conor Gallagher. Last night, he had Kobe Mainoo. So there's 3 different central midfield partnerships that he's had to adapt to within like a 2 or 3 game period. So there's no continuity. There's no getting to grips with how each other plays. We know these guys don't play with each other at club level. It's only at international level. And there hasn't been the bedding in period needed to really get that 2 central midfield partnership that is so important when you're playing games. So for the fact that people are coming out and saying Declan Rice is the reason that England's midfield isn't ticking, I just can't understand that dialogue. Like, I can't understand how people are saying Declan Rice is the problem in midfield. Like, Declan Rice is the only reason that midfield is even partly capable of winning any midfield battle. Declan Rice is the mainstay in midfield. Gareth Southgate's been rotating Trent, and then he's been playing Bellingham further forward, Foden out on the left. You know, so many people are calling out for, no, play Declan Rice in the 6, play Bellingham in the 8, and play Foden as the 10. Let's start playing these guys in their best positions. Let's not try and experiment, stick Trent there, and when it doesn't pay off, let's blame the other central midfielder. You know, let's blame Saka. I saw criticism of Saka as well. He should be dropped for the next game and bring in Cole Palmer. Look, Cole Palmer had a good cameo appearance. I like Cole Palmer as a player. But no one can sit there and tell me that Cole Palmer deserves to start over Bukayo Saka. You know, you do have to earn your place in the England team. And in terms of club form, Bukayo Saka's been every single bit as good as Cole Palmer. So he hasn't got the one up on him there. And in terms of England pedigree, Bukayo Saka is far and above any right wing option we've got. Any left wing option. Bukayo Saka is the England player of the year. You're telling me you're wanting to take that player out and give Cole Palmer a go, who's had one good season. People say you need to play players on form. Did they not check Bukayo Saka's stats from last season? They need to go back and look at the statistics, because Bukayo Saka is performing as well, if not better, than most of these other England players. So I just don't get the criticism. Is it because Arsenal used to be a bit of a joke team? Arsenal wasn't really competing for stuff. So when rival teams see these Arsenal players in the England team, they kind of like singling out these guys' performances because now Arsenal are a good team. Arsenal are looked at and admired. Are they just trying to kick Arsenal fans? Are they just trying to have a get at Arsenal fans because they haven't been able to do it in terms of club form? They haven't been able to attack these players because they've been so consistent and so good all season. Are they now waiting for them to maybe play in an England team that's being poor, and that's the only way they can get at them? That's the only time they're going to get a chance to kick these Arsenal players. That's the only thing I can think of, because there are far worse problems in this England team than a Bukayo Saka on right wing or a Declan Rice in central midfield. These are 2 world-class players we're singling out, or the people are singling out and trying to have a dig at. There's different areas of the pitch these guys need to be focusing on before they can come at these Arsenal players. Let me know your thoughts on that. Let me know your thoughts on this Arsenal decision to slap a £50 million price tag on Eddie Nketiah. Thanks so much to everyone for watching and listening. And like I said, just do me the favour before you go. On the way out, just hit the like button. Hit like and subscribe, and I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.